why can't we see a single plane over this particular area? Why do pilots avoid this specific area at all costs? Every passing second, on average, 9,500 commercial planes are in the sky worldwide. If we observe a live plane tracker, the entire world map seems filled with planes like flies. However, there are some spots on the world map where we can't see a single plane. It seems like planes are deliberately avoiding these spots, and indeed, that is the reality. Let's find out which airspaces in the world pilots absolutely do not take their planes to, and most importantly, why they do so. Number 6. Tibetan Plateau. There is hardly such a large land area in the world that planes avoid as much as the Tibetan Plateau, which spreads over an area of 2.5 million square kilometers and is shared by a total of 9 countries. Geographically, it is a very important route for planes that could directly connect China with Europe and the Middle East. But as we can see in the live tracer, planes are bypassing this entire area. The biggest reason is the highest mountain ranges found on the plateau, which start from China and go through Nepal, Bhutan, and end in Afghanistan. Here, the average height of the mountains is 14,000 feet, and commercial planes normally fly at 35,000 feet. Although planes stay much higher than these mountains, in the case of an emergency, such as a cabin pressure leak or engine failure, oxygen masks automatically drop, and the pilot only has 20 minutes to bring the plane down from 35,000 feet to 10,000 feet. Since the average height of the Tibetan Plateau is 14,000 ft, it is impossible for a pilot to do so in this area. Not only the high mountains make pilots avoid the Tibetan Plateau, but the planes also face very unique turbulence here. The air hitting the highest mountains here goes upward, which can disturb the balance of the plane. Number 5. Volcano. In January 2022, an underwater volcano erupted near the island of Tonga in the South Pacific Ocean. The smoke and ash cloud was so large that it broke all historical records. This event was also recorded by satellites and looks something like this. The ash cloud reached a height of 190,000 feet in the sky. Ash clouds at such high altitudes can easily damage any plane. The ash cloud from the volcano can also break the cockpit windshield and damage the engines. On June 24, 1982, a flight from London to New Zealand passed over a volcanic cloud. This was a time when smoking on planes was not banned. When smoke started to accumulate inside the plane, everyone first thought someone might be smoking. But what happened next was terrifying. When the crew and pilot began to smell sulfur in the smoke, they realized something was wrong. Volcanic ash entered the engine and melted, shutting down all the plane's engines, and the plane began to lose altitude. Fortunately, when the plane dropped from 37,000 ft to 12,000 ft, 3 out of 4 engines started again, and the plane was safely landed. But after this incident, pilots stopped flying over volcanoes. Number 4. Craters. Craters, as scary as they look, can cause much more damage, especially to planes. There are about 170 asteroid impact craters in our world, while several have also been created by mining companies. Although they can't harm planes at high altitudes, flying over them at low altitudes is not safe because they can suck in planes or helicopters. The deeper a crater, the hotter its bottom. Hot air travels upwards from the bottom of the crater, and cold air from outside goes into the crater. This exchange of hot and cold air creates a vortex effect inside the crater that has the power to suck, while very unusual turbulence occurs outside the crater. This is why pilots change their route as soon as they see craters. Number 3. North Korea. North Korea is the only country in the world whose airspace is considered the most dangerous, because the North Korean military can launch missiles anywhere, anytime, without warning. Not only North Korea, but they often fire missiles into the Japanese Ocean as well. Normally in such situations, announcements are made several days in advance, and before firing, radio contact is made with all the planes to alert them. That's why commercial flights that only need to cross North Korea now bypass it. Number 2. Area 51. This area, spread over 7,500 SQ kilometers in the US state of Nevada, is part of the US Air Force's top-secret base known as Area 51. Area 51 has always been embroiled in controversies because people believe that the American military is researching secret weapons and UFOs here. Hidden among mountains on all sides, This secret base is not visible from the ground level, but Area 51's base can be easily seen from an airplane. To avoid this, authorities have designated this entire base as a no-fly zone. If any plane tries to fly over it, they are immediately asked to change their course. If the pilot does not comply, the US Air Force has the authority to shoot it down. Number 1. Mecca. The holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia is a very important place of worship for Muslims worldwide. It is believed that the Masjid al-Haram is built over the Earth's center of gravity, which is why no plane or bird can fly over it. But in reality, there is no truth to such statements. Planes do not fly over the Masjid al-Haram because the Saudi government has declared it a no-fly zone. There are two reasons for this. The first is security, because millions of Muslims are always present in Mecca. If any unpleasant event occurs, it could cause significant loss of life. The second reason is Mecca's location. Mecca is built in a location surrounded by mountains. If a plane flies over it, the engine noise will be echoed, making it 2 to 3 times louder, which could disturb the pilgrims. That is why there is no airport in Mecca, because if there were an airport, planes taking off and landing would be at low altitude, causing noise pollution.